Welcome to the Conquer Athlete podcast, friends and family, athletes around the world. We have a very special guest for you today, the Marietta Mauler, Mr. Tyler Cooke.
The Marietta Mauler. Did you just make that up on the fucking fly?
Yeah, bro.
That's what they call me on the mean streets of the Marietta Square. By the way, boys, y'all haven't even mentioned it yet, but
No, I was about to mention it. I was like fucking Birdman out there.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Dude.
Did you get a fresh haircut too?
I did not. I only got one last week, but I got one scheduled for tomorrow.
No, that fade's coming in nice.
Isn't it nice? I got to cover up the grays. I'm starting to bleed in here. It's not good.
Let him shine, man. Let the grays shine.
It's not enough yet. It's like that awkward when you first started growing facial hair when you were like, dude, I'm a man. I got facial hair. And it's like they're not enough to be like actually, it's kind of like, oh, do you have like 4 grays? Yeah, it's gross.
Anyway, can we be honest though? Have you actually ever grown facial hair?
No, I couldn't, for the record. The two of you right now, like Ryan, you're out of the question, but even Jay, it would take me 2 years to get to that point, and I would look like a puberty 14-year-old boy in the process.
Love to see you look like a puberty 14-year-old boy.
Well, that's what it would.
That's right, Ryan. That's right. Go ahead, take it. Take it.
Hey, are we going to get into cuckold, or did we get enough of that last week?
Oh, you know what?
I watched the whole thing.
Speaking of cuckolds, I have never
90 seconds in. 90 seconds in, we couldn't stay away from it.
I have never in my life heard of that fucking word. And then I don't even know if I can tell the story. I feel like I might get divorced. I get home and I'm trying to think about how to phrase the next sentence or two.
It has nothing to do with you. Let's not.
Oh, so it had nothing to do with me. No cuckolding attached to me in my life, right?
That's good enough.
I heard the word again from somebody that's like 3 degrees or 2 degrees separated from me through a friend. I'm just going to leave it at that because I feel like I can get any more. I don't know. I can't. And they're apparently a cuckold, a cuckolder. Is that, you put an ER after it? I don't even know.
I think it's like
if Ryan was a cuckold, is he a cuckolder or is this cuckold?
I'm going to be honest. A lot of my education
was
stemmed from the Taylor Swift conversation last week. Like that was I had to dive in. I had to do it, and I learned a lot. It was good. It was very fruitful.
I stand tall, 10 toes in. She's a national treasure.
Ryan's not going to like this.
This was
she's
about
a mogul,
Taylor.
For sure.
This was never about Taylor. This was about Travis Kelce, 150%.
But you were against Taylor.
Yeah, she said.
You said that it'd be nice if something along the lines of if she fell off the face of the earth and disappeared forever. You'd be
literally nobody would care.
Along those lines.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. I want to go see a Taylor Swift concert.
I've actually heard from a reliable, friendly source that the show is like worth going to, even if you're not a Swiftie and a big fan.
Right.
The performance value of the show.
That's my point, Ryan.
Is solid.
She writes her music, sings her songs, plays an instrument, and her performance is high level.
Boys, I'd like to be on every week. This is awesome.
I go to CrossFit Milford. Every time I go to CrossFit Milford, there is 90s bangers.
Hip-hop
bangers. Of the most
bangers.
Quality hip-hop you can imagine.
Ghostface Killer.
No question. Every time I walk in that place and you're telling me now you want to go to a Taylor Swift concert.
He's a cultured man. He can do it all.
Thank you. I've always wanted to go to a Taylor Swift concert. I just don't feel like paying $7,000 to go to one.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Listen, for all our friends out in podcast land, if you have no idea what we're talking about, go back, episode 274, 100% be on my side.
Yeah, that's on me, boys. I should have brought that up.
And speaking of cuckolding, someone else, like I have never heard the word in my life. And then Ryan tells me the word in like 3 days in a row, like people talk about being cuckolders. And it's like, someone's like, oh yeah, at hotels, you got cuckold balconies. And like, it starts going into this whole like conspiracy theory about hotels and the cuckold community. I'm like, what? I
didn't know this is out there.
First off, I didn't tell you the word. I ran you through a masterclass.
Yeah.
Again, it was a deep dive. I told you I was educated.
Me too.
A deep dive.
Me too. All right. We're going to pivot quickly away from cuckolding, and we're going to get into lowering the bar, which is a conversation, and we don't have to say names. You know, I saw a post the other day, and I was like, you know what? This fucking post is like right and wrong at the same point. And it was said, my buddies put this up. He's a high experience trainer. And he was like, since when did we lower the bar so much for exercise that a 20-minute walk was a slap on the back, like a good job, you walked for 20 minutes. And I say wrong and right because, like, listen, I always talk about it like something is better than nothing. And if I'd rather have someone walk for 20 minutes than sit on the couch pounding a bag of Doritos with their hand down the pants watching The History of Cuckolding on Netflix. But if we're, but at the same point, it's like, hey, like, great job.
That's not it.
You walked to 20 minutes. It's like for some people in the community, yeah, that's fucking amazing. And I applaud you and good for you. Like, if you're not doing anything, start somewhere. Start with a 10-minute walk. Start with a 5-minute walk, right? Walk. But I think people rely on taking the easy way out too often. I even see that in my CrossFit gym, right? Tyler, you might see this too. It's like people come in, I'm like, all right, guys, let's add weight to last week's workout to last week's weight. Like, no. I mean, the whole premise is hard work, not the fucking easy way out. And
Dude,
then that tied into you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
That tied into you guys talking about athletes and coaches in the programming space. Like, the bar is so fucking lowered that you present a fancy spreadsheet that you pulled off Chat GPT, and all of a sudden you're an amazing
Somebody's
coach.
an expert.
Yeah.
I've said this from the jump since I started Ryan. I'm in year 4 with Ryan, which when I signed up, it was like a 1-year, one-shot deal. And now I just can't get away from the guy. He's like, it's kind of weird.
You're telling me.
Dude, I know. It's like we're stuck. But I've said from the jump that, like, what I've learned in this, not to diminish, I'd be very careful. Like, I don't want to diminish programming because there's a very real science to it. But I think the coaching aspect of coaching, if you like divide it all up, I think that the programming piece is probably like on the bottom end of what I would search for in a guy. Like, I've learned so much more about competing in the sport, fitness, movement quality, all kinds of stuff that I love to geek out on. You mentioned my affiliate. So much of this stuff I've taken now into the affiliate of Everyday Folks that Ryan and I have just chatted on via text, via call, whatever. And most of it in our deep dive conversations and my learning curve has not even been about programming. I mean, Ryan, since the games, I bet I've had in the last 2-3 months, probably no less than 10 people reach out in some capacity, whether it's in the gym, online, whatever, about, am I interested in doing remote coaching, like writing program? And I've told them every time, I'm not qualified to write program because I've not spent the time studying it. And then Ryan and I talk, he texted me just last night and he's like, dude, you were built to be a coach. I love like the mental IQ side of like learning and playing the game and this, that, and the other. And I think so many coaches, to tie it back to what you said, is that we're just so hyper focused on the programming and the reps and the sets and how the splits look and all that. And I don't want to diminish the craft because it's important, but I think that's the easy part, especially with AI and Chat GPT. You could, like I said a minute ago, we were talking off camera, like you could say, hey, I need to get stronger. Well, cool. Chat, write me a 8-week strength program. And they're going to come up with something. And if you went from Doritos on the couch to this, you'd probably get strong and be like, dude, this is the best program I've ever seen. Yeah, but there's nuance to it and all this. What you learn is like why it works and where it works and how to apply and things like that. And that to me is where you can really separate the coaches from the ones that just have fancy spreadsheets and that's the bottom of the barrel. And they're great programmers, great, versus the ones that are actually great coaches and mold athletes. That to me is the mark of an expert.
Yeah.
I should have started by telling y'all I talk a lot.
You're one of the 3 viewers that listen to this podcast. So you know where we're about.
I'm a loyal listener.
We dropped 10% last week without question.
We got to go up this week. We got to.
Staying on low in the bar, I was at an affiliate con. I don't even want to say affiliate con. I'll say affiliate con. I was at an affiliate con for CrossFit. Brian, this is probably like 13 years ago. It was before CrossFit football. Were you guys around for CrossFit football? Yeah. So as Greg Glassman, we were all there. I was like, shit ton of fucking affiliates. Oh my God, it's a story. So it's down in Texas, right? And it's like first time traveling. I booked this hotel in Texas and I swear to Christ, like it was a meth lab. Like I walked in and I'm like, fucking zombies hanging outside. You know what I'm saying? Like babies fucking crying in the back of cars. I'm like, I'm gonna get fucking murdered here, right? I'm walking in my fucking Reebok Nanos and my fucking tight CrossFit Milford shirt on, right? Buzz cut, half arm sleeve. And I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. That's the end of the story. But anyway, so I go to the affiliate con and
awesome.
Something exciting happens after that. I left. And Greg Glassman was talking and I forgot the guy's name. He was a prominent affiliate owner and he challenged Greg about affiliates and how, CrossFit's lowering the bar on just allowing anybody to become affiliate after they do a two-day seminar. or something like that. And Greg paused and he looked at him and he goes, well, that's how you started. And it kind of like shut the guy in his tracks. So when I think about like coaches and lowering the bar, I always hesitate when I walk this line, because my first programming, I was programming for Rob Orlando. He made the games and he was like, hey, I want to get back to the games. Can you program for me? I've never written a fucking individual design program for anybody. And I got this Goliath in CrossFit saying, hey, can you program for back to games? And I said, no. No, Rob. We're still really good friends. And God bless Rob. Guys, he's fighting cancer really bad right now. So there's some fundraisers out for him, and he's going through some stuff with cancer right now. So if you guys can, if you know him, reach out to him, or there's donation sites up. But I did program for him, and it went well. But what I'm trying to get at, beat around the corners. Everyone's got to start from somewhere, and I think where the problem comes into play is when they don't have a path or know-how of where they want to get to or how they're going to get there, right? Like, we all started from somewhere, owning affiliates, being coaches, whatever we're trying to do. It's like you start from not knowing shit, but you're like, hey, I don't really know a ton of shit. I got to learn more. I got to process more. I got to study more. I got to develop more. This is how I'm going to get there, and I'm going to keep going. I think where I have an issue in some of these conversations is when you have people who've been in the game for a long while who don't know shit and don't care that they don't know shit and don't know what they don't know. If that makes sense, right? It's like people who have been like, hey, I work for such a company. I do this and that. I'm going to write programs. I'm going to sell myself as the best. I'm going to sell this 12-week program. I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell that. And I'm not just talking about CrossFit. I'm talking about the entire virtual space in the world. And it's like, they don't know what's happening. The bar's been lowered so much that it's like anybody can jump on and pull an AI program or pull a program that someone else wrote for them and then sell it as their own, right? And people jump on board. I don't know where I'm going with this. And I'm not trying to sound like a negative person standing on a high horse or standing on a tall mountain looking down. It was just thoughts in my mind in the conversation.
I think there's two parts. There's two takeaways from that. The loudest coaches aren't always the most experienced or the most knowledgeable. So if you're floating around Instagram shopping coaches, followers do not equal quality program design. And I don't think there's enough coaches having deep conversations with their athletes. So that is one thing I think Tyler and I do really well. I have learned a lot about the physical expression of the sport through watching him, his process, how he operates, how he interacts, with the team. Mm-hmm. And I think he has learned, and correct me if I'm wrong, more about stimulus and intention. And I think what makes Tyler a very potent coach, even though he refuses to wear that title, is his unique ability to break down the sport, right? I think as a coach, I've never made the games. I've coached people at the games. I've watched the games since the inception. I've followed the evolution of it, but I've never actually expressed it. So Tyler brings the unique experience of, okay, this is how I would break it up. And then going to a team, he now has to develop a athlete IQ to learn when and where to break, how to coach other people of when and where to break to be the fastest on the floor. And I think that's where we should take this podcast. I think, Tyler, I don't know if you've actually fleshed it out, but you definitely have a process of breaking down workouts, and you've seen it. Other athletes are now coming to you being like, will you coach me at competitions? So that's a whole nother evolution of the sport from a coaching perspective that I don't think we've seen yet, and could be a really cool sort of side hustle, So what does that process look like for you?
What is the process of getting into that coaching world, or just the way I look at it?
No, just how does Tyler approach a workout now?
The easy answer is the way that you taught me. The complex answer is I used to, when we first started, it was like, I just assumed that everybody at the games level did everything unbroken as fast as they possibly could. I just thought they're fitter, they're better. And then I will never forget the workout you wrote. It was 3 rounds of 90 double unders, 15 thrusters at 135. And I got right up to the piece, got warm, and I was like, I don't know how to approach this. texted you and said, hey, do you want me to go unbroken on this? Because I can. And you said, I don't give a shit if you go unbroken. You don't get points for unbroken. You get points for who finishes first. You need to go as fast as you can go. However, you have to break that to do that. And that example stuck with me to this day. I look at a workout and I reverse back into, it's funny. I tell people on our affiliate, Jay, we're talking about the affiliate. I tell people every day, it's like, I look at a workout and I look at how can I make this to where I work as little and as easy as possible. So I find my limiter in the workout, whatever movement that's going to be. And I say, that's the one I have to be careful on. If it's thruster or if it's a row or if it's an echo bike, whatever it is, where I'm going to blow up, I can't overextend there. Now, the parts where I'm good at, maybe that's where you throttle up, throttle down. And then what I've also learned to grow into is that sometimes the good things that I'm good at are areas I can almost break and breathe a little better, because you gave me another workout that was 100. By the way, the 45 thrusters, crushed it. Went in sets of 5, which was way smaller than I was thinking. But I was always like, my mindset was like, dude, if I do 5s, how easy is this workout going to be? I could just do 5, set it down, pick it back up. And that's my mentality now towards everything. It's like, how I want to do the biggest set I can do. You call it highest repeatable effort, is the biggest set I can hit that I don't feel like I'm overextending. And I can always like drop it and then pick it back up again because I'm only doing 5, whatever that is. You gave me another one, was 5 minutes, max toes to bar, but I could only do sets of 5. And I'm very good at, upper body pulling gymnastics. And so I was like, dude, 5s, I'm pretty good. Let me rip. And I ended up getting like 108. And these are like, both of these pieces are probably 2 years ago, but they stuck with me because I was like, wait, I got 108 toes to bar in 5 minutes. Had you told me, hey, go do 5-minute max toe to bar, no restrictions, I promise you I'd have hit like 28, 29, 35 to open, because I'm good. I'm going to hit it. And then I would have gotten to like doubles and singles, and I'd have been staring and be like, dude, that bar is so high. Got to jump up here and grab it. And instead, it was like mentally, what I did was that, man, I can always hit instead of 5. So my point to you is I back into what is the biggest set I can hit of whatever the movement is, or the pace I can hold on the bike, whatever it is, to where I can stay below like overextending and just not stop. And then that ties back into my overarching, like, I need to put it on the wall somewhere, is one of the first things we talked about when we started was, you asked about my approach. My approach has always been what you said, was if me and Rich lined up and went and did an open workout, and we both went at the same pace, for 3 minutes, I'd hold with Rich, probably, because I've got a high enough output. I can do all the skills, whatever. And then in minute 4, I'm going to start to see mechanical breakdown because I'm running at well above 80%, 90%, 100% to keep up with him. He's going to run at 80%. So we're at the same pace, where his 80% is going to extend him way out in the 12, 15, 18 minute mark before he starts to see mechanical breakdown. He's got to like throttle up. I'm going to see that mechanical breakdown way earlier because I'm way over 80% effort. And so what we do is we push the threshold and push the capacity to where 80% now carries me longer. So I approach everything like, I can only run at 80% because Ryan's going to be pissed if I don't. Where can I push the throttle to keep myself at 80%? It's probably not the echo bike. It's probably not a high power output rower. I've got to be careful on the movements that I'm into, so I can like back into every workout. Where's my bottleneck? And how do I keep everything at 80%? If my bottleneck is the row, I've got to stay at whatever pace, so that I don't get overextended and below the 80%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I know I talked about this in the podcast, the art of pacing. And I think lots of people confuse it when they think about going slower. But the art of pacing is like being a race car driver and knowing where to throttle up and where to throttle down in order to maintain the optimization of your output throughout the time, right? Whatever sort of race you're doing, which is what you just talked about. Did I ever tell you my story with Rich when I competed with him?
Oh, but story time with Jay is one of my favorites. So
hold on.
This is great.
Before you tell that story, I want to make a quick point. So for all the athletes listening out there, I think what you guys need to understand is there's volume tolerance. You have to be able to hit a certain amount of volume within like a singular session, a singular workout, or a training week. Once you achieve that, and then you have quality transitions and like you understand how to kind of like flow through the sport, then it just comes down to purely getting faster, right? And I don't think enough athletes think about that. Like aerobic speed is a real thing that nobody's talking about. So you've accumulated all this volume, you're strong enough, all of this shit. Then it's about finding efficiency to just do the workout faster. And there's not enough athletes, or at least enough people writing programs that allow them to do it. These, rip it and grip it type workouts where you're just balls to the wall, holding on as long as you can, is just an outdated model of training, in my opinion. And it's not about, going as fast as you can from the get-go. It's okay, how fast can I finish this workout? Like, not like how quickly can I get through it, but what's my pace in the last 10%? Like, that's what you realistically need to be thinking about, and reverse engineering that pacing to where it's consistent, or you're getting faster in that last 10%, right? That's to me where Tyler really found success in the sport, where flailing around on a bar year one, just fucking dying, to being like, what do you mean I don't have to touch and go every single rep? I can drop it, relieve some of the tension, get some more blood into the muscle, get some more oxygen, and actually move efficiently.
Yeah.
So, whatever. That's my high horse. Now story time.
Yeah. So going back to what Tyler said, lining up against Rich and pacing, when I was competing for CrossFit, I competed at the games 2 years in a row?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm a big Jay fan. I'm telling you, I know the stats, dude. I've been to Milford with the jerseys on the walls. Fires me up.
We were doing a workout. Rich was up, and it was 20-minute AMRAP of 20 clean jerks at 135, 20 pull-ups, 20 cal assault bike. So in my head, I'm like, I'm going to beat this guy, and I'm going to make sure the world fucking knows I beat him in this workout, right? So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to touch and go clean and jerks for obviously I'm going to go like 875, and then pull-ups, I'm going to go on broken first set, and bike, the typical fucking spiel. It's like 10 seconds left before the clock kicks off. I go, Rich, what are you about to do? He goes, singles and sets of 5. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to fucking smash this dude. Singles and sets of 5. Fuck this.
He's getting smashed.
Right? He passed me by like 3, lapped me 3 times in a fucking workout, right? Like, I think I don't even, like, if I finished at like 3 rounds in 20 minutes, he had like 6 or 7 rounds completed, right? Just like, like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, right? Like, insane to me. And that's something that I think he had over everybody, was his understanding of that, right? Pacing, optimal strategy based off who he is, when to throttle up, when to throttle down, and just maintain movement efficiency with everything for as long as he needed to, no matter what it was, right? That's really, really what separated him. And I'm really sorry, guys, but I got to ask you guys a question that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about right now. Did you guys see the viral video going around where it's like this lady has twins? So she's like white and her husband's white, like blonde hair, blue eyes. And she has twins of brown skin and black hair, babies. And she's freaking out, those are my kids. And she's just sitting there crying, holding the 2 twins. I guess she took like a trip to India to visit the Taj Mahal like a year ago. And some dude knocked her up. And now she's got twins of Indian.
They really were not his. And not adopted, not
dude, blonde hair, blue eyes. They're black hair, brown skin, and she was in India a year ago. And
that would be a hell of a surprise.
She's just sitting there crying, holding the babies, and he's there fucking like, well, these are my kids. And the doctor's like, sir. And I'm trying to figure out if this is real or fake, because if this is real, this is fucking crazy and amazing at the same point.
That's gotta be fake.
So if anybody who's heard that story,
we need verification.
I need verification on this is real now. Anyways, pacing, optimization. All right, let's go.
We need to follow up on that. That's a big one.
I have seen the video.
You saw it, right, Ryan?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Tyler,
yeah.
All right, shoot me. Post
grab
a link
your phone.
in the comments.
Tyler, grab your phone and right now go to
what do you
Globe.
want to type in? 2 brown skinned kids? I can't. That's not something I'm searching.
And here we go.
I'm just saying I'm not searching it.
No. Go to.
Yeah, I want you to search that one for me. All right, send that to me right now. That's incredible. I think that might be real, dude. His emotion is too high.
It's okay.
She said they're beautiful.
Could you imagine?
They're beautiful. They're not mine, lady.
I don't get sappy real often. Could you imagine being the woman, though, just having popped out these 2 kids and homeboys just screaming at you? Like, that's going to be real traumatic.
Imagine a dude, like, greatest moment of your life. And all of a sudden you're like,
that's not mine.
Those aren't mine.
I get it.
Like, I know my lineage. That's not it. That cannot be it. That would be a one hell of a surprise.
Oh my God.
Pacing. One thought, and I don't know where it came from.
She didn't pace herself in India, I'll tell you that.
She didn't pace at all. It was just 100%. There was no mechanical breakdown.
Like, I'm at the Taj Mahal, and I'm just going to have at it.
Tyler's trying to bring this back also
professionally.
Also, how about it wasn't just one? She got twins. Not only was it one bomb, it was 2 bombs. That's
Twins.
incredible.
Pacing.
One thought, and I tell my people this all the time, is, and we did this a lot strategy-wise with the team stuff, would be Jess on our team is also very analytical and likes to geek out on stuff. So we'd have these in-depth, like mathematical conversations about it. If you took a 12-minute rich workout, which is a world-class, open effort, let's call it, whatever it was. Who's watching it again? It's again.
No, I know my volume was on.
No, it's good. I heard it and I was like, he's still upset.
I'm setting it to my wife. Sorry, go ahead.
That guy's still upset.
He's just crying.
It's the best. That really is great. But point is that if you looked at a set of workout, let's say it's 5 rounds per time, movement speed, that's what a lot of amateur rookies, younger, more amateur thinkers think is like when you get to the games, it's all unbroken and everybody just squats super fast, Colton Mertens level. Like you have to win on movement speed. And very rarely does movement speed win workouts, right? It's a math problem of who rests the least. Because if you rest the least, that means you are moving and advancing the barbell, whatever it is. And there's only so many reps in a 5 round of 20, your assault bike chest to bar example with Rich. There were only so many reps in the workout. And let's assume everybody's within a percentile of each other from a movement speed standpoint. That's a certain amount of time that you can add up and quantify and say, okay, if everybody did this workout unbroken with no transition, here's my time. And then how you get to the end result of like what your actual score was in the workout is simply rest time and transition. And so if you compare that, it's just, hey, how do I rest the least? And back to my example of the 5 minutes of max toes to bar with only sets of 5, that was a function of like, I would do 5, I would drop off, I would jump right back up. And so I minimized the rest time. And so I back myself into, okay, if I have a set of 20 in a workout and I break this into 4 sets of 5 or 2 sets of 10, you still have a set number of rest. And whoever wins just rests the least. So if you have 4 rest breaks, but they're only 5 seconds apiece, versus if you overextend and go a set of 12 and then you have to rest for 25 seconds, you just lost 25 or 5 seconds to that guy. And if you do that 5 rounds, you just got smashed. So it's back to how do we approach the workout? It's like, how do I rest the least? And sometimes that may mean breaking way more, but my rest breaks are very tight and aggressive. And so you just kind of back into that, I think is a pacing thing of how do I rest the least, which means I cannot overextend from a pacing standpoint early to where I can keep my rest breaks nice and tight and diligent throughout 18, 20 minutes or 12, whatever the time they may need.
I think people just think, I think people think rest is a negative thing, but when it's structured rest and strategic rest to elicit a specific like physiological response, that's a beneficial rest. Like you should do that if it allows you to maximize effort. And like when you reframe it that way, it's not that you're resting, you're like recalibrating.
Yeah. Tyler, was it challenging for you to have buy-in around this when you started working with Ryan?
It wasn't challenging. I was so ignorant to it. I just had never been exposed to this style of thinking around it. And again, that's just ignorance of not having been around anybody high enough level to explain it. And then everything you see is Rich and you just looking like, oh, well, he's doing X, Y, or Z and he's got the capacity to do whatever. And so you're just kind of following that. And you just assume it's the same way in the affiliate. Like people that first get in don't know enough to even be dangerous. The people that are like kind of dangerous and get themselves in trouble is they're good enough. They develop the skills and then they think, well, great. Now I've got 20 toes to bar in a workout and I can do 20 toes to bar. That's a horrible idea. Please don't do that. I say that all the time. I'll say, you probably should be able to do this unbroken, but don't. It's a horrific idea and you're going to blow up. And so I just had never been exposed to anybody saying, hey, I know you're really good at toes to bar with a max set in the 50s or 60s of toes to bar. You should break these into 5s, because that would have been so counterintuitive to the idea of going faster and advancing on the workout and beating the guy next to you. And so when Ryan just simply exposed me to it, the buy-in was easy, especially when he gave me, the one of the things he did was cool without thinking about it, was he would just give me this piece. Hey, go do 5 minutes of toes to bar, max toes to bar. You can only do sets of 5. We'll talk about it after. Great. Now you get to go experience what that feels like. And I saw instant results and feedback of, oh, that was easy. And then that's what I said earlier. I always try to back into, how do I work? This is like almost comical. How do I work? How do I make this workout super easy? I don't want to work hard. I don't want to get high heart rate. I want to stay below that threshold where everybody thinks like CrossFit's bang your head against the wall. Dude, I don't like to hurt. I do. I'm probably the worst on my teams that I've been on at hurting. The other people on my teams have always been better at hurting. I'm probably a little bit smarter in saying, I'm not going to hurt. I'm going to break this up accordingly so that I can keep moving and do well in the workout without getting to the point where I just have to like be tougher than the next guy. I'm not tougher. I'm actually I use toe covers in the plunge because it hurts. If I don't, it hurts.
You didn't
Why
have
would
to
I
bring,
do
you didn't,
that?
you didn't have to bring that one up. We
Coach,
were trying
it's been
to,
on my mind.
you did not have to bring that one up.
I've been wanting to bring it up. It's the
I
same
knew
principle.
this was going to happen.
Toe covers.
We're going to have
It's
to
the same
reshoot the
principle.
podcast.
No, we don't. It's something we talk about.
It's, toe covers in the plunge created the very first time I ever had to stop and re-record a podcast based on what
You know
was
that
said.
I asked Ryan offline. I was like, "Hey man, you got to tell me what you got." He's like, "I can't. I'm not getting into that. You can ask Jay if you want." So we'll have to connect. I really want to know what the conversation was, but toe covers is a science thing.
Okay, don't deviate
Toe
too
covers
far.
in the.
No, hold
Okay.
on.
Okay.
We're on a good path.
So
I want to ask you guys both the same question from different perspectives. So an athlete that wants to learn this, right? This like athlete IQ, right? Like learn how to be more strategic in workouts. Tyler, how do you think you can approach it from an athlete perspective? And then Jay, how can you design a program or design a workout to do that?
I'll go first because mine will be short. The athlete piece there is a lot of, you and I have been at this 4 years. There's a lot of trial and effort. There's a lot of things where you would tell me, you'd say, "Hey, I want you to just go do this." Like I've said this forever. Went back to like the low bar of coaching. I think the low bar of athlete is like having to have my coach tell me what pace to row at.
Yeah.
Having to have my coach tell me how to break something up. Now I asked the question earlier. I texted you. I was like, "Hey, how you want me to break this up?" And then your response was not fives. It was, "I want you to break that up however you have to do it to get done as fast as you can." And then I went out and did it and like found that, I can break this up small and it feels more comfortable. I keep moving. And so there is a lot of trial and effort where you've got to go figure things out. You've very rarely given me pieces where you're like, "Hey, I want you to go do this 5-round Metcon. I want this to be unbroken. I want you to run at this pace. And then I want you to hit this." It's just like, "Hey, here's this workout. Get done as fast as you can." And then we've had a ton of conversation on the back end of workouts. "Hey, this is what I did. It was a horrific idea. Why did I blow up and hit this wall?" And you say, "Hey, dummy, you're not thinking about the hip flexor tax that the total bar is going to feel from a bike erg, or the one that we did was a chest to bar piece. And you told me right off the bat, you're like, 'Hey, you went way too hard on the bike erg.' I was like, 'Well, that's a leg movement.'" "Hey, dumbass. Yeah, but it hits your hip flexor. Now your legs are heavy when you don't have the kip version for your chest to bar pull." Anyway, there's a lot of learning that you can do just by doing and doing it poorly. Like sometimes you just got to like hit the wall and figure out what happened.
Do you think that like what worked really well for you? Was it a lot of variation in workouts? Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I like when athletes blow up. I think every blow up is an opportunity to learn your true capacity. He's on it again. He's on it again.
I'm not.
And then when you blow up as an athlete, it's actually an opportunity to look at, okay, like how do I tolerate this level of volume in this specific movement paired with this specific thing? And if the athlete and or the coach are not looking at that, you're missing education opportunities from the training you just accomplished. Like, I don't think enough people look at training as education opportunities. And if you really want to look at improving yourself within the sport, we have to have better reflection periods post training and like really dissect, where did I feel this? Why potentially did I feel this? What was the impact from, earlier training in the week that maybe affected this? And I just don't think enough people are doing that. They're just going in mindlessly and banging their head against the wall, thinking that if they just keep doing that repeatedly over time, they're going to get better at the sport or get better at, understanding the sport. I don't know.
Yeah.
You asked the question in there somewhere.
No.
Sorry, Ryan. I know you're
just yelling.
Onesies in a cold plunge is like saying you do martial arts, but you're in your mom's basement watching a Taekwondo USA Billy Blanks video. There, I said it. Now we move on from there.
No,
okay, we'll come back to that.
You can't fucking bring this up now. Ronda Rousey just called out Rogan saying he's like, don't quote me, but like uneducated and not a real fighter because Taekwondo is like not mixed martial arts.
But Rogan's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well, and he practices MMA at his facility. That's why I didn't give it the quote.
I'm just saying, you want to talk about this, we're going to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, wearing a purple onesie in your mom's basement doing a Taekwondo USA video by Billy Blanks is not martial arts. However,
are you saying that's me in the plunge?
This was Jay circa 1990.
Yeah, that's you in a plunge. I want the onesies off. I want the onesie off. I want the gi on or something, right?
It hurts.
Now, Rogan's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I think he like routinely practices stand-up.
So.
No, I know so. I know he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So Ronda Rousey, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah, she might be. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sorry, Tyler, but I had to say it with you on the show.
I don't have it offhand, but there is data backed up on why the phalanges, you're also supposed to sit with the water level like here because you don't get a lot of blood flow in your fingers and your toes anyway. And so you're supposed to protect those areas. So that's why the toe covers are it's just toes. We're not feet, but just toes. And so what you do is that you go in there and you get, I'm going to find the article and I'm going to post it. And I'm going to tag Conquer in it. I'll get the article. A good friend of mine who's in the medical field told me to wear the toe covers. All right.
Yeah, I probably
Tell
told
him,
you the flu
medical.
shot, get the COVID shot as well. But we're not going to talk about this on this podcast.
Same person.
Yes. Let's go down this rabbit hole.
Same person told me to get with the booster.
All right, but what Ryan said was 100% correct. Training is a time for education, and there is so much good that can be out when athletes blow up. And I've seen some athletes and games athletes who almost become too analytical all the time, right? Where it's like too strategic based, too paced out based to the point of a detriment. And I think what's important for athletes to understand is what that blow up point is for them and what the optimal pacing strategy is for them based around their blow up point and their ceiling, their capacity. And then what gets exciting from a programming standpoint is when you could take that same number. So let's call it Tyler's 108 toes to bar in 5 minutes and sets of 5. Well, now can we work on that density before we have more volume to have, and this is something that Ryan and I talked about, I think like 2 podcasts ago, 3, I don't even know. It was definitely pre-cuckold. I think that's the format of our podcast, pre and post cuckold. Pre-cuckold, but how can we do the same amount of work, right? So not add volume, but do it faster and do it faster while maintaining mechanics, faster splits, but higher reps, right? And that's something that I work on a lot with people like the tutors, right? It was like, okay, if we're doing a workout that's 6 rounds of 30 toes a bar and a couple of movements, let's start off at what he thinks that number is, right? For the sake of conversation, let's call it 5s. Cool. Now we're going to work on training and work on building density. Now let's come back. Now, can you do 8-7-5? Okay, now can we go 15-5 for 4 rounds, then go 5-5, and keep having these strategic builds of the same number with the same intensity, but now keep getting it faster and faster and faster to the point where we get it to this optimal number. It's like, okay, now let's think about adding volume. But I don't think we can ever get there as coaches and athletes if we don't test and create blow up situations to learn. All right, where are we at and what's the number for us? Now, how do we, like Tyler's been saying, how can we do this to the best of our ability with the proper amount of rest time and strategy and become way more efficient and way more fluid? And I do want to say too, Tyler, like you said, you hurt the least on your team. Not to put a thorn in anybody's side on your team, but I've seen you carry your team 2 years, not throughout the whole thing, but really fucking dig deep when your team needed someone to dig deep. Like you have that ability to fucking go dark when you need to, and you have the ability, like you're a phenomenal teammate. I've seen you, like you cheer. One thing I always watch, and I'm in these backgrounds, is who plays a victim, who plays a blame game, who picks people up when shit goes bad, right? Because that's when you can tell who the leaders are. Anybody can be a leader when everything is going well. And I've seen you routinely behind back doors being a leader, pushing hard when the team needs you, backing off when the team needs you to back off, always having a good attitude, cheering people up, never pointing the finger, blaming anybody, and just in there, right? So hats off to you for that, and hats off to Ryan for that as well.
Do you
I
think...
appreciate that, man. There's a lot.
Listen, don't get too soft on each other, okay? Do you think, so that like ability, to go dark and whatnot, do you think that's just a product of the programming the athlete's exposed to? Either one of you can answer this. And like, obviously we need that gear. We got to be able to hit that, 10th high gear and go full send when we need to. But for your example, like in Tyler's example, that's such a small percentage of our training, where some athletes, that is like a training methodology. Like it's only full send all the time, right? Like some very predominant camps that are currently in the space, that's kind of the method they buy to. And it's just like full send all the time. And do you think those athletes actually get themselves into trouble because they only run at full steam and they don't spend enough time kind of adjusting pace to like balance out the equilibrium and figure out how to find the best pace, not the hardest pace from 3, 2, 1, go?
Yeah, I think in the long run, if they do that, they find themselves in trouble. And I think the ones that might be involved in something like that, who are very experienced, actually don't do it. They might seem like they're pushing hard, but they're not. They know ways to back off. I think the young people that go in those camps that don't know any better, they do it, and yeah, they might feel great and think they're seeing improvement because anything new and different is going to create some sort of stimulus and change. But in the long run, that's going to have a detrimental effect on you. I mean, you can look at research across the board in literally any sport ever created in the history of the world, and no one and nowhere has ever full send all the time, no matter what you're doing. Even if you look at elite level marathon runners, they might be holding a marathon at like a 5:30 mile pace. To us, that's full send. To them, that might be 80% effort, right? So what you're thinking, it's all person specific, but no one ever full sends all the time. And if they do, no one's ever able to maintain that for any length of time. That creates lasting longevity inside the sport. I mean, I'll take that one to the grave.
That's been the premise of our entire my entire development for 4 years, and I've calculated this up. I personally, and I can only speak on myself. I've been in the games 2 years in a row. Going to go back and win it this year. But we're going back 2 years in a row, and games and semifinals.
Love it.
Both years, I have been at what I consider my full throttle capacity, hurting, digging deep 3 times. It was Echo Bike Burpee at the games last year. It was the deadlift workout this year. For the record, it's because we couldn't figure out the deadlift and it hurt like hell. It has nothing to do with my capacity. And then it was a semifinal workout where we were just chasing down the leaderboard on the previous year. 3 times out of, you could add up, what is that, 30 events, 35 events almost in 4 major events, where I was at what I would consider to be my threshold. I cannot do this much longer. I'm dying. Lay on the ground. Ryan almost had to carry me back after burpee Echo Bike 2 years ago. And that, by the way, that was for various reasons. We had, things in both years that kind of predicted that. But the point is, why would if that was 3 events out of, call it 30, it's 10% of the events that I was at my true 100%. I'm closing my eyes type level push. Why would I train that all the time? I need to train. I've got to have it in my tool belt. I've got to be able to access it when I need it and hit the throttle when I need to. It's go time. I'm on. And by the way, 2 of those were like last round type thing. You don't do that from 3, 2, 1, go. It's not possible. But to your point, it's like we trained the 80% threshold, back to the Rich analogy. That was something we talked about like in week 2. Or 4 years later, I still reference it. If we just push the 80% up, I'm fitter than the guy next to me. And I can run at 80%. He's going to overextend and I beat him. Right. And so there's no reason to be beating your head against the wall trying to kill yourself so that I can go dark and be tough. You cannot out tough your way to win. That's just not going to happen. You're going to blow up. You're going to die. Right. You can't recover. You got 10 events over the weekend, those kinds of things. So it just makes no sense to train that way. You've got to be able to train it. And then the other thing is, not to ramble, Ryan's talked about this a ton. You have to earn a lot of the stuff we're talking about, meaning you cannot hand a lot of the things we're talking about training that dark place. Why would you give that to someone who can barely do a set of 10 ring muscle ups? You've got to develop the capacities to be able to express your ability to go dark in a workout that's got 30 ring muscle ups in it. You can't push that because you're going to blow up if you don't have the capacity to even get there. So you have to earn the right to even train a lot of these dark places by developing the capacity on the front end, which is back to like geeking out over how's your movement quality? Do you have different ways to vary your toe to bar? You can't just do the same thing every single time and expect to be winning on the back end.
I love it. Guys, we're going to end the podcast right there. This is I had a lot of fun with the 3 of us. I don't know. Post Cuckold Conquer podcast era might involve a lot more Tyler Cooke in the show.
Dude, I listen, boys, I'll be anytime you guys want to call.
We all need gold chains though, Ryan. We need gold chains.
Fellas, I can drop the Amazon link. If by Christmas I still have it, Callie's getting me a nicer one. Right?
I already have
This is Amazon, $25.
You have a gold chain?
No. Callie,
sent you the link, huh?
commented on it in one of his viral Instagram videos, and I actually think she sent it to Christina.
Even
Callie,
better.
send me the link.
Dude, you're getting one.
Send me the link.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's taking off, boys.
We got to have Callie. I want to do a Tyler Callie podcast.
I don't want to be on that.
Life of a CrossFit Games wife. And,
she deserves it.
Let's do it. Tyler, thank you for your time. I'm being serious, so I think we're gonna have you back on the show. This was fun having another dynamic.
Boys, anytime. I love geeking out over the sport. I love messing around as well and having a good time, but I love geeking out over this kind of stuff. I can't get into the programming conversations like you guys can, but the fun side of the sport to me that's the game, and I love it. So I'd love to join you guys.
All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the show. See you next week.